Hey everybody, this is our review of Ghostbusters Afterlife. So flashback to the end of August this year. I was attending Cinemacon for JoBlo at Las Vegas, and at the Sony Panel, Jason Reitman and his father Ivan walked out on stage to tell us that we'd be the first audience to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, the conference was all about bringing the big screen back, and sure enough, since then, we've gotten a few very successful movies. Sony was on hand to promise that they had the goods for a major holiday release with this long-awaited spin-off of one of their biggest franchises ever. And sure enough, they had very good reason to be optimistic. Ghostbusters Afterlife is, in some ways, a bit like a hypothetical Ghostbusters 3. Now, that's not to say it focuses on the original Ghostbusters, it doesn't. But it takes place in the same world as the other films do. Here the Ghostbusters were real guys who saved New York under odd circumstances in the 80s, but they've been mostly forgotten by time. Enter a new family headed by Carrie Coon's Callie with Finn Wolfhard's Trevor and McKenna Grace's Phoebe as her two kids. They head to a decayed farmhouse in Summerville, Oklahoma, which has been passed down by a dead relative. Of course, the family has some kind of connection to the late Egon Spengler, as famously played by Harold Ramis. But that's better for you to find out watching the movie than for me to tell you exactly what that relationship is. The film focuses on McKenna Grace, who's a nerdy Egon-esque kid who can't help but be fascinated by some of the old relics that she finds, such as a functioning ghost trap. She brings it to her new teacher, Paul Rudd's Mr. Gruberson, who just so happens to be a Ghostbusters fanboy, and all hell breaks loose in her town, literally. Soon, Phoebe, her brother, and two other kids from the neighborhood, Celeste O'Connor's Lucky and Logan Kim's podcast, so named because he hosts a podcast, end up finding Ecto-1, a bunch of proton packs, and giving chase to a new slew of ghosts. Thank you for watching JoBlo videos. If you enjoy our shows, please subscribe to our channel right now, like this video, and click on the bell so you'll be notified each time a new video goes up. Now, back to the show. To be sure, this new Ghostbusters skews a bit younger than the original film did. It's pretty heavily inspired by Stranger Things in this way, but director Jason Reitman knows his father's franchise and also knows that you can't make it too vanilla. So the kids are edgier than you'd think, and very much approximations of the characters played so iconically in the original films. Grace's Phoebe is the scientist, Kim's podcast is the crazy conspiracy theorist, a la Ray, O'Connor's Lucky is the realist, kinda like Winston, with her dad played by Bokeem Woodbine as the town sheriff, while Finn Wolfhard's Trevor is the girl-crazy cut-up, who of course has a big thing for Celeste O'Connor's Lucky. Now, this all may not sound super original, but damn if it's not ridiculously entertaining from start to finish. Reitman, along with co-writer Gil Keenan of Monster House, has made a love letter to his father's films with the whole score by Rob Simonson done in the Elmer Bernstein style of the original. Grace really comes into her own as the potential star of a new franchise. She may be Egon-esque, but she's more fragile and emotional than he was, and her bond with him, in a way, is beautifully done. Wolfhard is fun, channeling Bill Murray to some degree, while Kim and O'Connor are both highly likable. As for the adults, Carrie Coon gives her character some real soul and edge, being a broke mom who resents being forced into this junkyard farmhouse, but also one that's utterly devoted to her kids. Paul Rudd, of course, feels born to be in a Ghostbusters movie as the teacher who winds up with a big crush on their mom, and you could tell all involved just delight in his presence. As for the big bad, I can't reveal who or what it is other than to say it relates somewhat to the franchise's history and happens to include two pretty big stars that haven't been revealed in any of the marketing. The film has a lot more legitimate menace than the second film did, making it more in line with the first in this way. Predictably, the 2016 reboot is ignored in favor of making this a legit follow-up. As for the original Ghostbusters, well, I really can't go too much into their roles here. I think to do so would spoil the movie to some degree. Other reviewers will likely give it all away, but suffice to say fans of the franchise likely will not be disappointed. Stuff happens, but also in a way that doesn't take the focus off the new characters, who the film is all about. It's a unique departure for Jason Reitman, who's never really tackled a massive tentpole movie before, but seems more than up to the task. He doesn't really ape his father's style too much, despite the homages. He has a vibe of his own that actually kinda reminded me a little bit of George Lucas's earlier work, circa American Graffiti, which I found pretty pleasing. The cinematography by Eric Steelberg nods at the original but doesn't copy it, with the look relatively warm and even naturalistic. Of course, some fans probably just want Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson, plus Sigourney Weaver, leading a full-on third Ghostbusters movie, but after the death of Ramis, that was never in the cards. However, Reitman has delivered an affectionate tribute to the late great man, as well as his own father's enduring classic, and I think fans worldwide should be very pleased that this is a great little movie, and I give it a strong 8 on 10.
What are you doing here in Somerville anyway? Honestly, my mom won't say it, but we're completely broke. And the only thing that's left in our name is this creepy old farmhouse our grandfather left us in the middle of nowhere. Why'd you bring me up here?
Entertainment value?
What is that?
I don't know.
Somehow, a town that isn't anywhere near a tectonic plate, that has no fault lines, no fracking, no loud music even, is shaking on a daily basis.
Under the dining table now! Hey, remember that one summer we died under a table?
I found this in my living room.
Whoa, killer replica.
A replica of what?
A ghost trap? There hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years. New York in the 80s, it's like The Walking Dead. Your dad never mentioned this to you?
It's just my mom. My grandfather died. My mom says we're just here to pick through the rubble of his life.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Call it fate. Call it luck. Call it karma. I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Come on, darling.
It has a gunner seat?
You're a great mom.
I don't know. I'm fine with Trevor, but with Phoebe, she really keeps me on the outside.
That's normal. She's an awkward, nerdy kid.
Maybe a new home can be an opportunity to start fresh. I just wish she'd get into some trouble.
There's still time.
What are you doing here in Somerville anyway?
We're completely broke. And our grandfather left us this creepy old farmhouse in the middle of nowhere.
Your father wasn't much of a homemaker. He could hardly keep the power on.
You're saying he left us nothing?
Well, I wouldn't say nothing.
You went with the station wagon?
It's the only one that had an engine. What is happening here?
Somehow, a town with no fault lines is shaking on a daily basis.
Maybe it's the apocalypse. Egon came out here for a reason.
Are you troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night?
Do you experience feelings of dread in your basement or attic?
Have you or any of your family ever seen a spook, specter, or ghost?
Oh my God. You guys hear that?
Something's coming.
The whole city. It's like The Walking Dead.
Ghostbusters.
We're ready to believe you.
We're closed.